Today is my father's birthday and my husband and I are going to celebrate his birthday together. My father has always been strong and my mother passed away when he was very young. He did not choose to remarry and he gave so much to the family. As he got older, his health deteriorated. I would love to bring him home to live with us, but he prefers to live in the old house he used to live in. We prepared a sumptuous dinner. After dinner, my husband and I returned home. When I was ready to go to bed, my breathing became difficult. Feeling like I was going to die, my husband called the emergency number. I was in an extreme panic. I needed to get to the hospital as soon as possible. My consciousness started to become fuzzy. I said, "Baby, when are they coming?" He said, "Soon." He held my hand and kept reassuring me. I saw a black figure in the corner of the room. It stayed there the whole time and it was signaling me to walk towards it. I was terrified. I didn't know what it wanted, maybe it wanted my soul. Could it be one of Satan's men? It looked like an evil spirit. The paramedics arrived at our apartment and they checked my condition. My blood pressure and heart rate were low, and the EMTs asked if I could stand up. I stood up and then fell back down. They brought a stretcher and carried me from my apartment building to the ambulance. In the ambulance, I was very scared. I said, "No. I'm dying, help me." Suddenly, all the lights turned black. I thought to myself, okay, I'm dead. Then my soul left my body and I was being chased by a demon. I believe it was the dark figure in my bedroom. The demon told me, I will never see my husband and father again. There was nothing I could do but try to get away from this monster. I think it had been watching me for some time. I suddenly heard a voice that was very familiar. This voice shouted my name. It was my nickname as a child. As I lay there, it sounded like it was calling me. Everything turned black again. I was in a dark space. I was suspended in the air and I couldn't see anything. I couldn't feel my body. I started calling out for help. And to my surprise, my voice was so small that it was as if I was the only one who could hear it. I kept calling out. I just thought that I had to get back to my family. I didn't want to die. I kept shouting, "Please help me, please help me. Please." I felt like I was relieved. I started to fall downward. That's when I started to panic, and I remember my father kept telling me that if you repent you won't go to hell. I believed at that moment that I was falling into the depths of hell. I could hear the screams all around me. I was falling and falling. I also remember my father telling me that if you pray to God for forgiveness, you won't go to hell. I began to pray. I prayed to God, "Please forgive my sins. I prayed to you, don't let me die." Finally, I stopped falling. I landed on a rolling boulder. It felt like my feet were burning, and I could smell the burning flesh all around me. I still couldn't see anything. I heard a voice say, "Son, your time has not yet come. You must climb up and get out of here." I started climbing up. The walls are wet here and I keep slipping. Some of the rocks were hot. I heard screams and people shouting at me. "You can't get up there, you can't save yourself if you try harder." I kept climbing anyway. I got to the very top. Someone held out a hand. I saw a figure, but couldn't make out a face. A dazzling light emanated from around him. All I know is that when I reached the top, I got help. I believe that hand was Jesus. His hand was so strong and powerful. His touch was so warm. His presence was so miraculous. I didn't believe in God at one time, because I had been having a hard time in my life. Now I feel like God is right there with me, and everything is going to be okay. I heard a voice saying, "Son, you must go back, your family is waiting for you. But before I send you back, I have to show you something." I saw what had happened in the past. I saw the scene. I was stealing my father's money, because I wanted to buy a toy I wanted. I saw the whole thing happen as if I was standing right next to it watching. When I was little, our family was not rich. I stole money from my father several times. I know now that my father knew every time I stole money from the family. But he didn't blame me. This made me very ashamed. He asked me, "What have I learned through this? If I could go back in time, would I change anything?" I said, "I regret the situation very much. If I could go back in time, this would not have happened." I felt how stupid I was at the time. Next, I saw my 19-year-old self. I lied to my father and told him I would be home late for a school event. In fact, I was out on a date with my boyfriend. I saw many more of these visions, not all of them bad, but also some that made people happy. I learned something from each scenario. I need to work on correcting a lot of things in my life. Suddenly, everything stopped and I was in a bright white room. Maybe it wasn't a room, I was just surrounded by light. I saw my grandmother, who passed away a few years ago. She looked so beautiful, and she said to me, "Your time has not come yet. We are not ready for you to come here yet. Your husband and father are still waiting for you, and you have to go back." I said, "I don't know how to go back." She pointed in the direction of my left. So I went that way, and I went back into my body. I knew I was back, and I knew I was safe. I was in the hospital for 2 weeks. My kidneys completely healed themselves. I had been anemic for years. My hemoglobin is all normal now. I made it back. Jesus saved me because I proved myself.